Hi guys! So it's been like a week, 2 weeks, I don't know. Yeah. So someone actually messaged, well, didn't message me, but left a comment on one of my pictures on Instagram asking if I could give some advice on how to get started. Fuck. Are you kidding? My battery's gonna die. Fuck. What do I do? What do I do? Hold on. So, it's been about like, what? 1 week? Oh, fuck. How the fuck did I just do that? Ow. Popped my fucking kneecap. Okay, yeah, no, it's not stable. Okay. Hi! So it's been about 1 week, 2 week, right? So, 1 week, 2 week. Ha! Can't talk right now. This hurts so bad. Okay, so it's been about 1 week or 2 weeks since I've made a video. I've just been really lazy. And reading. And doing other stuff. So, I am going to Hi guys! So it's been about 1 week or 2 weeks since I made my last video. About last week on, I think it was Thursday, I got a comment on one of my Instagram photos from a girl. I don't have my phone is attached to the wall, right? So I don't know her name at the moment, but she did ask if I could give her some advice on how to get started on your path in Wicca and practicing. So that's what the video is going to be about, I guess. So I'm going to start off by saying it's going to take a long time. Like, you're never going to fully know everything, but you know, so I'm just going to help you out with like a few advice tips, like first off. So you're going to have to go online, you're going to have to research things sometimes, and especially if you're trying to find a coven, because you just can't. But you're going to have to go online and you're going to have to research a lot of things, and if you're interested in looking for a coven, you're going to have to go online and find one of them. So one thing I would definitely suggest is don't say that you are a Wiccan, or don't say that you're a Wiccan online if you're looking for a coven. Because a lot of people will get mad at you and say, you're not Wiccan, you're just a witch pagan, or a pagan witch. It's not the same thing. And it's not, but, yeah. So, just, because here's a, thing you can say instead of, I'm a Wiccan and I'm looking for a coven. Because a lot of people will just get on your ass about how you're not a Wiccan unless you've been initiated into a coven through the steps and processes. Which, I guess in some aspects is true, but in others it's not, because Wicca is a very personal path. No one's path is the same, and if you're in a coven, that's great and all, but you all have your separate paths. So I don't think that those people who say that you're not Wiccan are right, but just to avoid conflict online, like to get away from all the trolls, just say that you are a person who is interested in becoming Wiccan. I guess you could call yourself a seeker or something. Yeah. Just call yourself, I'm a seeker. I am looking to, and if somebody asks what that is, just say, I'm looking for more information on Wicca and things. So if you're gonna do anything, don't say that you're a Wiccan, like in the forums and everything, because you're gonna have a whole bunch of people just tell you you're not. When, in fact, you probably are. So, Because no one can tell you if you're a Wiccan or you're not. Honestly, no one can. And no one can define what you are. Only you can. Because you're the one that's walking your path. But you did ask me how to start your path and some advice and stuff. So that was my first advice. If you're going online, don't say that you're Wiccan right away. Just say that you're seeking knowledge on Wicca and witchcraft and you are a practicing witch. You can say that you're a witch. I mean, come on. If you do spells, then you're a witch. So nobody can say that you're not. You're going to be reading a lot. So I recommend just getting, if you don't already have one, get a library card and go to your library. And in the religion section, there should be Wiccan books. There should be books on Wicca. If there aren't, you might want to go into the mythology section. Because, you know, some churches and some libraries and towns and everything, you won't have like a little diverse area for religion. If you can't get anything in your library, that would be when you go to the bookstore, like Barnes and Nobles. You can get a lot of books, like amazing books. This was my first book, Elemental Witch. It's probably backwards for you to read it. It's by Tammy Sullivan, and I loved this. It was very interesting. It got me into witchcraft, and honestly, I still don't know what type of elemental witch I am. I can practice with all of them. I've been doing witchcraft since I was 10. I'm now 17, so 7 years. 7 years of witchcraft. And, like, I don't know, what, 5 years of studying Wicca? I just never really got into Wicca until a few months ago. Like, I never said, you know what, I'm Wiccan, I'm gonna do this. I always just studied it from afar. Like, it was interesting to me, so I studied it. I never started practicing until this year, though. So, but I did start practicing witchcraft since I was 10. So, practicing witch since, I don't know. Anyway, so you're gonna want to get a lot of books. I recommend Elemental Witch, it's a really good book. A lot of these are really good books. But that was my first one. Now, something I really recommend you doing is going into the history and finding history of witchcraft books. Books on the history. So, this is, hold on. Okay. I couldn't find his name. I've been reading this book for about a week now, like at bedtime, so that I can just wind down my brain before I go to sleep from all my electronics and from the TV and everything. So I just start reading before I go to bed. After I write in my journal or diary, both things. I don't know. Anyway, so this is The Witch's Craft by Raven Grimassi. I love this. I was actually reading this out loud to my mom while we were in the car. I love this book. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm not even that far into it, and I'm like hooked on this book. So I love this book. I recommend it. You're gonna want to learn a lot about the, sorry, somebody just walked by. You're gonna want to, He's still barking. It's been like 10 minutes. Is he finally done? No. So as I was saying, yeah, you're going to want to learn a lot about the history of witchcraft and Wicca, and I think the best thing to look up if you're looking for books would be about the old religion, or about Wicca, history of Wicca, history of witchcraft, history of the old religion. You could even go into Druidism or Shamanism, and it would just be amazing. You can look up what happened. You can look up the history of Celts. You can look up tarot card history. You can look up a whole bunch of different things. Just make sure you learn the history, because the history is actually very, very good. It teaches us how paganism managed to last throughout the ages, how Wicca got started, how there were witches way, way back then in history, and how we just finally put a name to it and called it Wicca. So it's really interesting. So very, very much consider looking into the history of Wicca. That's good. So this is one book that you could get. It's called The Witch's Craft. It's by Raven Grimassi. I'm going to go with that. Now, if you're a teenager, I got this from a friend. She was very accepting because she was already Wiccan, and she wasn't going on that path anymore. But she was very happy that I finally found Wicca, and that I was actually finally deciding to start going in, because she knew that I was studying it for the longest time, but she was very proud that I was actually going to start practicing. So she gave me one of her old books that she got on it. So it's called Teen Witch, Wicca for a New Generation, and it's by Silver Ravenwolf. I love this book. There are spells in it. It tells you all about the equinoxes and solstices. It tells you about the cone of power. It gives you a bit on information, on reincarnation, Summerland, and it gives you spells. It gives you information on what some herbs are good for, what colors are good for, which direction the elements go in. It's very good. So, Teen Witch, Wicca for a New Generation by Silver Ravenwolf. Very good. Another thing is you're going to want to learn about the Wiccan year and the Wiccan holidays. I picked up this book right after I got this one. So I got this when I was about 12. It was 2 years after I picked up that book, because I was finally because I was practicing for 2 years as a witch at that point, and I finally said, you know what, I've been seeing a lot online about Wicca. I want to know what this is. I want to learn more. So I went to the bookstore with my mother, and I got a new tarot deck that day as well, because I got this the first day that I went and got my first tarot deck. So I said, you know what, let's make a tradition. So now every time I go and buy a book on Wicca, I get a tarot deck. I have about 3 tarot decks now, and a deck of angel messaging cards, because I was interested in them. So this is a very good book. It gives you some meditation you can do, it gives you rituals you can do, gives you some spells, and it gives you information on the holiday and some information on the holidays. So it is called The Wiccan Year, Spells, Rituals, Holiday Celebrations, and it's by Judy Ann Nock. And I love this book. I've read it about 3 times. 3 times in like 5 years. That's not bad. But yeah, 3 times. I love this book. It's really good because, well, I love it mostly because of the front, because of how the wheel is. I love how it looks. I just love how it looks. Yeah. She's also the author of A Witch's Grimoire. I have yet to read that, but I love this book, so I recommend it. Have my little pile going. The last couple of books I have are mostly just spell books. Now, when you're going to start like doing spells, and you have to, if you find any spells online, research them fully, like thoroughly. Like, you're going to want to look at what the materials are. You're going to go and look for those materials and find out the magical properties of those. You're going to look at the words and see if anything is off. Like, if it says that you're going to harm something, that is completely off. That's just wrong. That's not a good Wiccan spell to do. Because in Wicca, our Wiccan Read says, "And it harm none, do what you will." So that means emotionally, that means physically, that means mentally, do not harm. Just don't. A lot of Wiccans choose to be vegetarian or vegan. I'm not, because I like my meat too much. But I do say a prayer before I eat, saying thank you to the Lord and Lady for protecting my food, for protecting the animal, and for it giving its life so that I may make energy from it. Thank you for the circle of life, pretty much. So that's what I do since I still eat meat. And yeah, so you're going to want to research any spell you find online. I mean any. You're going to go and look through the colors. You're going to find out what those colors signify. You're going to go ahead and look at the materials, like if there's any incense you're going to have to use. You're going to go and look at the scents in a book that you have, or book that you rented, or you can go online and search for it and find out its magical properties, if it's good for protection. Like, if you're trying to do a protection spell, it should have protection in that incense. If it doesn't, try to bring in a different thing. All in all, I don't think doing random spells from books is really that cool or awesome, or they don't really even work. I have tried a few, some have worked, but not many have worked. So I personally choose to write my own spells. I'll go ahead and make a whole nother video on that probably next week, on how to make your own spells, what a spell is, and just all about spells. But I love this book. I've rented it about 6 times from the library just so I can keep on reading it. The Complete Idiot's Guide to Spells and Spellcraft. Yeah, I really like this book. And it says it's by Aurora Greenbow and Kathy Jewell. So, this is awesome. If your library doesn't have it, I don't know. Try an online library, they might have it. The digital libraries that they're coming out with, they're pretty cool. I love it because I have a Nook and a phone and a computer. And Overdrive is awesome. So, yeah, if they don't have this at your library or at a bookstore, go ahead and find it on Amazon, and you can go ahead and look on the digital library. I'm sure they might have it. It's really cool. It tells you all about the times of days that you can do a spell, with what it's good for, when it's masculine, when it's feminine. It gives you what moon cycles you should do for things. It tells you all about the scents. It gives you different woods. It's really good. It tells you about stones too. This is another one. I haven't gotten to read it yet, but I'm really excited to, because it's by Scott Cunningham and David Harrington. But it's Scott Cunningham, come on. I'm really excited to read this though, because it's the magical household, spells, and rituals for the home. So, and it's got pictures. Oh, I'm excited to read this. I might start reading this after I finish the history though. So there's that. Then there is Powerful Spellcraft for Life, The Art of Crafting and Casting for Positive Change. It's by Erin Murphy Hiscock. Good book. Very good book. It tells you about balancing energy. It's just really cool. It gives you spells once again, and I've researched what's in the spells, and some of them are good, most of them are good. It tells you about the Ethics of Spellcraft, Keeping Records. Okay, that's another thing. So, that book. That's another thing you're going to want to do. You're going to want to keep a record. So, this is my lovely Book of Shadows. I keep a lot of things in this. Now, it is still small and not completely full. Most of those are empty, but some of them are full. So I keep a lot of different things in there. First, it's just my cover page. Then I have the Wiccan Read, which you're going to want to print out a copy of that or write it down by hand. I'm very into writing things down by hand because it helps with your brain function and it helps you be able to remember things as you age. So you're less likely to forget things, you're less likely to have brain deterioration because of it. Just write everything down. Don't type it, write it, and then you can type it. So mine has the Wiccan Read, and then I have the Witch's Creed on the next page. I like both of these because I can read this anytime, and I love the Wiccan Read because, for one, it's a poem. For two, it's a page, and for three, it's beautiful. It's amazing, and I love it, and it rhymes. And it's just awesome. And I read it to my class when we had to, we were doing something about our religion or our background, and in a language arts class that I was taking, so I read the Wiccan Read because I'm Wiccan, and I'm yeah, I got a lot of questions, so I got to teach people about Wicca a bit. I was very happy. I love teaching. Then I have the Witch's Creed, and it's another poem, and it's not even a full page like the Wiccan Read, but I put them into like little half pages. And it's just beautiful. It's awesome. Then I have a page that just says caution, it's my Book of Shadows, don't read unless you have permission. Because I might turn this into a family Book of Shadows when I'm older and have a family. And start teaching my children. So, yeah, so I just put that in there early. Then I have owner's information. And then okay. You're going to want to write 2 lists for your Book of Shadows. You're going to want to write, on one page, you're going to have a list of things you will not do. They are limits. You will not do these things. Mine are pretty simple. I'll just read them to you. I will not cause harm, make someone go against their will, do anything not fully thought out, do something out of spite, disrespect the elements, gods and goddesses, or energy around me, refuse to listen, allow anyone to downgrade or walk all over me, including myself, downgrade others, lie, steal, or cheat, allow negative energy into my life, forget a promise, be afraid to speak my mind, be afraid to show my feelings, and I will not hide my true self. So, those are my will nots. My will list is a little shorter. It's just, you're going to want to write down things that you will do, and then you're going to want to write down things you will not do. So, for me, I just don't want to do anything that's split-second decision. I'm not going to do a split-second decision. I'm not going to do something out of spite to someone because I'm pissed at them at that moment. And I'm not going to cause harm. I'm not going to I'm not going to make anything go against somebody's will. I'm going to think out everything that I do, so I put down that I will not do anything that's not fully thought out. Another thing on my do nots, or my will nots, are that I won't be afraid. I've had a lot of fear in my life, and so I'm just done with it. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. And lately, it's been going pretty good. I'm not afraid of Jack anymore. Another thing is downgrading others or downgrading myself. I'm not going to allow anybody to walk all over me or tell me that I am worthless, or that I am lost from God, or that I am walking down the wrong path, that I'm going to hell. I'm not going to allow anybody to walk all over me, tell me what I'm doing is wrong or right, and just completely be rude to me. I'm not going to allow that. That will not happen to me. And if I have to stand up for myself, I will. And in my will, and in my list of I will stand up for myself and others. I will be true to myself. I will be respectful to those who show me respect in return. I will look for and see the beauty in everything. I will remember that I am powerful. I will research things before I speak about them. I will stay focused. I will achieve the goals I set out to accomplish. I will be kind, gentle, but stay firm and strong. I will continue to learn and grow. I will try my best in everything I do, and I will focus on the good in everything I do. So, yeah, those are my I wills. And then I have my spells. And I mostly write down, you're going to want to write down about the spells that you try and do, and then the ones, and if they work or not. You're going to write down notes, you're going to write down how you did it, you're going to look at it about maybe 30 weeks, or 30 weeks, wow, 30 days after you've done it, and if still nothing has happened, you're going to look back through your spells, see what you did. You're going to maybe tweak a few things, maybe the wording, maybe you just weren't having your whole energy and heart into it. You're going to want to mull it back over in your mind, and you're going to try it again. And then if it still doesn't work, it was probably just not meant to be. So leave it be, and then maybe in the future you're going to need that same spell, so you can come back and just try it again, and maybe it'll work. So, yeah, Book of Shadows, I love it. And I made sure it was a purple binder, because purple is spirit. So keeping records and keeping detailed records is really, really good. You're going to want to do that. Trust me. It's going to get a lot easier the further that you go down the road on your path, so it's just going to become easier and easier to pull out your Book of Shadows, or pull out your journal, pull out your grimoire, whatever you want to call it. You can even get a Book of Mirrors. It's pretty much just a diary. Yeah, and you're just going to write down everything that you did. If you saw maybe a butterfly and you randomly thought of something, you can write that down in your Book of Mirrors, because it's magical, and it did something for you that day. It made you think of something. So nature made you think of someone or something. So you can write that down in your Book of Mirrors or whatever. So I've gone over books, I've gone over keeping records, I've gone over don't call yourself a Wiccan online, because it's just gonna cause problems. Now what? Oh. Okay, so this is going to be a little weird. I'm biased because I came out of the broom closet as soon as I started practicing Wicca. I went to my mom, I said, "Hey Mom, what would you do if I was thinking about being a witch, being Wiccan?" She looked at me and she said, "That'd be cool, I just want to know a little bit more about it." I'd be like, awesome. So you're going to want to come out of the broom closet to people, and sometimes you're going to lose a lot of people, a lot of friends. Your parents might flip a bitch. Honestly, if you have really religious parents, they're going to probably flip a bitch. But you can go ahead and say that you can try and explain everything to them. You can tell them about the god and goddess. You can tell them that you're pretty much just living in nature. You're worshiping nature. They might go off on your ass about how you're supposed to be worshiping God and not nature, but you can just say, well, God created nature, and can I worship that? Because, please, just say, you know what, I'm going along with what my life wants. I'm going to do what I want, because I only have this life. Don't let them know that you think reincarnation is real. So yeah. You're going to want to come out to your parents, and your family, and your friends. Now, I will admit, not all of my family knows that I am Wiccan. I did post it on Facebook, though. And I do have this YouTube channel, and I have told my grandmother, but, yeah. So I'm quite sure not all of my family knows that I'm Wiccan, because my aunt and uncle up in the mountains right now, they don't need to know. They are very old and I don't want to give them a heart attack, so I'm just gonna let it slide for now. They don't even know I have tattoos. So, yeah. So yeah, you're going to want to come out to your family and your friends. Now, with your friends, you might lose a few friends. I was lucky and fortunate enough to not lose any friends. But even if I did, I'd have said, okay, well, thank you for being in my life up until this point. You've taught me valuable lessons, I'm sure. Have a nice life. Because honestly, people come in and out of your life all the time. And it's just gonna keep happening. So I like to think of it as they're coming into your life to teach you a lesson. When they're done with teaching you that lesson, they'll most likely leave. So if I have a friend who's just like, no, we're not friends anymore, I don't want to hang out anymore, or whatever, I'm going to be like, okay, well, whatever. Thanks, and I'll just walk along. I'm totally fine with people just coming into my life and going out. I'm very positive thinking. Yeah. So you're going to want to tell people. I'd recommend telling your friends first. Don't go telling friends who are just, I'm gonna tell your parents and you're gonna get in trouble. Don't tell those friends. You can go ahead and tell the friends that you trust first, like your best friends. You can be like, don't be like, I'm Wiccan. Don't do that, because that's just gonna be weird. You can go ahead and be like, so, I wanted to talk to you because I'm going through something and I wanted to ask, well, not really ask, but I wanted to confide in you that I am going to be following my path on Wicca. They ask what that is, give them information, tell them books to read, tell them sites to go on to find out more about it, tell them a bit about the god and goddess, tell them about the stones and just the sky, the elements, just tell them stuff. Be informative when you're telling people that you're going to be Wiccan, because as long as you're informative, people can't really put you down. They can still put you down, but you'll be able to back up your shit. So, yeah, that is pretty much my advice on how to start your practice. Make sure that you research. Make sure you don't call yourself a Wiccan online. Then make sure you read a lot. Read. Research all the spells that you ever do. Keep a record. And just make sure as you're going onto your path, taking your first steps, that you're open with the people around you and tell them. Let them be able to stay in your life or walk out, and make sure that you are completely comfortable with yourself, because as long as you're comfortable with yourself, you're not going to have any problems. Absolutely none at all. So yeah, I hope that helped you. Leave comments down below and send me messages or comments on Instagram photos or anything. I hope you enjoyed this. Check out the links below. There is a link to my friend's page, to my friend's blog, and there are links to my other social networking accounts. So I hoped that helped you. Bye guys!